Who's the greatest NBA player of all time? For decades, fans and players alike have passionately argued over this. Take Shaquille O'Neal, for example. He just can't wrap his head around why Kobe Bryant isn't mentioned alongside Michael Jordan and LeBron James in the GOAT conversation. But it doesn't stop there. Many believe legends like Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar have a rightful claim to the title of GOAT. In this video, we're going to peel back the layers, uncover the legends, and reveal who truly deserves the crown. Call it blasphemy if you wish, but I don't think Michael Jordan is the greatest player in the history of the NBA. Let me clear up a few things first. I'm not a Jordan hater. I fully acknowledge Jordan's incredible contributions to the game. I'm well aware of the achievements of other legends, and a closer look reveals that Jordan isn't undoubtedly the GOAT. While LeBron James is now #1 on the all-time scoring list, Jordan sits at #5. In terms of total games played, Jordan doesn't crack the top 50. When it comes to assists, Jordan is not in the top 25. So if we're defining greatness based purely on statistical dominance, there are areas where Jordan falls short compared to other legends. If championships define the GOAT, then Jordan is behind Bill Russell, who led the Celtics to 11 NBA titles. However, we must acknowledge that the NBA was a different league in the 50s and 60s, so comparing Russell's achievements to Jordan's isn't quite apples to apples. This isn't to diminish Russell's dominance, but simply to recognize the different eras of competition. Let's dive into Jordan's finals appearances and see why his journey, while impressive, might not be the Herculean, untouchable legacy many claim it to be. In the 1991 finals, Jordan faced a weakened Lakers team. 2 years prior, the Lakers had lost their iconic center Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to retirement, and now their best player, Magic Johnson, was averaging just 18 points per game in that series. This was also Magic's last hurrah, as he retired months later after being diagnosed with HIV. The Bulls took the series in 5 games, the 1992 finals. Jordan's Bulls faced the Portland Trail Blazers, a team led by Clyde Drexler, but Drexler had no second star by his side. The combination of Jordan and Scottie Pippen, a luxury few teams had at that time, overwhelmed the Blazers, and the Bulls won in 6. In 1993, the Phoenix Suns gave it a shot, but despite Charles Barkley's MVP season, he couldn't do it alone. Once again, a single superstar couldn't overcome the Bulls' duo of Jordan and Pippen, and Chicago won in 6 games. Now, after Jordan's brief retirement, the Bulls made their return to the finals in 1996 against the Seattle Supersonics. The Bulls easily handled the Sonics, who had only one Hall of Famer in Gary Payton. Jordan wasn't at his best either. In Game 6, he shot just 26% from the field and had 5 turnovers, yet the Bulls still closed out the series, which speaks volumes about the quality of the team around him. During his hiatus, stars like Dennis Rodman and Tony Kukoc were added to the roster. The 1997 and 1998 finals were a bit more competitive, with the Utah Jazz providing the Bulls with their toughest challenge. However, John Stockton, the Jazz's second star, averaged under 10 points per game in the 1998 finals, which once again left the Jazz outgunned. So when you break it down, these 6 championships, while iconic, weren't always the solo, heroic feats people often remember them to be. Jordan had the benefit of playing alongside an all-time great in Scottie Pippen, and in the later years, an even stronger supporting cast with Rodman and Kukoc. Great team basketball, a brilliant coach in Phil Jackson, and the competitive edge of Jordan himself made the Bulls dominant. But it wasn't a one-man show. The competition in the 90s wasn't what it is today, and Jordan's greatness, while undeniable, came in a favorable situation. But it's worth questioning. Would Jordan have been as dominant in today's era, or if he didn't have such strong teams backing him? When it comes to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, you could argue that he had more help from his teammates than most of the other greats. Despite being one of the most decorated players in NBA history, with 6 championships, 6 MVPs, and being the second all-time leading scorer, Kareem's resume has a significant gap. He never won a championship without an all-time great alongside him. Kareem won his first title with Oscar Robertson, who was considered the greatest point guard of his time. His next 5 championships came with Magic Johnson, widely regarded as the greatest point guard of all time. Having Magic as a teammate impacted Kareem's legacy in the same way that Magic's legacy was affected by playing alongside Kareem. No other greats have had the advantage of playing with another top 5 player, especially not two of the greatest point guards ever. The fact that Kareem matched Michael Jordan in championships is often used to bolster his GOAT claim. However, Kareem won Finals MVP in just 2 of those 6 titles. In his last 4 championship runs, he averaged only 19 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists per game in the finals. In a way, you could say he was carried by his teammates. Kobe Bryant deserves to be right there in the GOAT debate, alongside Michael Jordan and LeBron James. It's something some NBA fans feel so strongly about. So why is Kobe not always mentioned in the same breath as Mike and Bron? First, he played with Shaq, and people held that against him. Second, Kobe came along at a weird time. Kobe wasn't the clear-cut number 1. One guy for long enough. He entered the league just as Jordan returned to reclaim his throne, and after Jordan's final retirement, the Lakers dominated with their three-peat. But once Shaq left, the Lakers struggled, and Kobe had to carry a mediocre team by himself for several years. Kobe Bryant did manage to reclaim the spotlight when he won 2 championships alongside Pau Gasol. However, after those victories, the Lakers began to decline, and Kobe missed the playoffs in his final 3 seasons. Kobe's last year saw the Lakers endure their worst regular season in history. Draymond Green pointed out that while Kobe was once considered the top player in the league, that period didn't last long enough for everyone to cement him in the GOAT conversation, especially once LeBron James entered the scene and quickly made his mark. From that point on, it became a tug-of-war between LeBron and Jordan. These factors have unfairly diminished Kobe's legacy in the GOAT conversation. LeBron James, often referred to as King James, has made a strong case for being considered the greatest of all time, GOAT. However, his record in the NBA Finals is a significant point of contention, especially when compared to other all-time greats. LeBron joins Wilt Chamberlain as one of the few legendary players with a losing record in the Finals, which raises questions about his place in the GOAT debate. One of the most glaring blemishes on LeBron's legacy is the 2011 NBA Finals, where he and the Miami Heat lost to the Dallas Mavericks. This series is often highlighted as one of the biggest meltdowns by a superstar in NBA history. If we examine the final performances of the potential GOATs during their prime years, LeBron's 2011 output stands out as one of the worst. For a player of his caliber, such a performance is almost unfathomable. The GOAT, by definition, should consistently rise to the occasion in the biggest moments, not falter when the pressure is at its peak. LeBron's other finals losses are also frequently mentioned in discussions about his legacy. While his finals appearances are an achievement in themselves, the losses, particularly the 2011 series, have left a lasting stain on his otherwise stellar career. To be considered the greatest, one cannot have such a catastrophic performance with everything on the line. The 2011 Finals is often cited as a major reason why some hesitate to place LeBron at the top of the GOAT list, as the greatest of all time would never let such a moment define them. Larry Bird was a little unlucky, in my opinion. Bird finds himself in that situation. You can't truly declare someone the greatest of all time based on an incredible but short 9-year span. Despite his stellar stats, 3 consecutive MVP awards, and titles, injuries ended his career. His rigorous, do-or-die playing style eventually took a toll, and he left the game before accumulating additional titles and honors. This brings me to an important point. If Larry Bird wasn't even the greatest player of his period, he can't possibly be regarded as the greatest player of all time. Magic Johnson had the same number of regular season MVPs as Bird, beat him 2 out of 3 times in the finals, and racked up 5 championships compared to Bird's 3. You cannot be considered the greatest of all time if you were not the best in your era, particularly in a condensed amount of time. When it comes to Bill Russell, it's hard to ignore the context of his era, which many argue was less competitive compared to later years. Russell played during the NBA's early years, a time when the competition was arguably at its weakest. Sure, he has an impressive 11 championships, but that was partly due to the context of the league. His first 4 titles came when there were only 8 teams in the NBA. With so few teams, the odds of winning the championship were 12.5%, which is quite high compared to the 4.3% chance during Magic and Bird's era, or the 3.7% chance for Jordan's first 3 rings, and 3.3% for LeBron in the 2000s. Russell won another 5 championships when there were only 9 teams, 1 title when there were 12 teams, and another with 14 teams. Moreover, during this period, the playoffs had only 3 rounds due to the smaller number of franchises, and the top team in each division got a bye for the first round. This meant that Russell only needed to win 2 playoff series to claim a championship in 8 of his 11 titles. By today's standards, Bill Russell's achievements, while remarkable, benefited from an era that was far less challenging. Now, let's talk about Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt will always carry the reputation of being a selfish basketball player, more focused on personal stats than on winning. And ironically, there's a stat that supports this view. Throughout his career, Wilt played in over 1,000 games and averaged an NBA record 45.8 minutes per game. The crazy part? He never fouled out, not even once. Now you might wonder, what does this have to do with Wilt being selfish and not the GOAT? Well, John Havlicek, who played against Wilt dozens of times, pointed out that Chamberlain was so obsessed with never fouling out that he changed the way he played just to keep that streak alive. Think about that. How many games did he cheat his team out of by holding back and not giving his full effort? If you're truly the greatest of all time, your aggressiveness and will to win should never be in doubt. But with Wilt, it is. Hall of Famer Rick Barry didn't mince words when he called Wilt a loser. Barry asserted that Chamberlain eschewed pressure and didn't want the ball in crucial situations. This is supported by the statistics, which show that Wilt averaged 5 fewer points in the finals than in any other series during his career. In addition, he attempted fewer shots overall, making 4 fewer field goals and free throws per game. Wilt seemed to be more concerned with keeping up his numbers than anything else, except crucial situations. Wilt Chamberlain isn't the GOAT because of this. Another player who is mostly known for his assists is Magic Johnson. Circumstances certainly played a big role in Magic Johnson's career. He was fortunate to be drafted onto a team that already had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, a top 5 player, even as he was nearing the end of his prime. Having a player of Kareem's caliber by your side is an advantage that none of the other greats have had. Magic didn't need to be the best player on his team to win championships, which he proved by capturing 5 titles but only 3 finals MVPs. In 1985, that honor went to Kareem, and in 1988, it was James Worthy who took home the award. Magic was put into an ideal situation from the start, but then his luck took a turn. His career was cut short right in his prime, and if he hadn't been forced into early retirement, who knows how much more he could have accomplished. He might have climbed even higher in the all-time scoring and passing ranks, and could have added more MVPs to his collection. After all, he won 3 in the 5 years before his retirement. Had Magic been able to continue playing, he would have had a legitimate shot at becoming the greatest of all time. His accolades are impressive as they stand, but when you compare them to other contenders, he falls short. Not because of his talent, but because he never had the time to fully grow his legacy. Magic never got the chance to reach his full potential. And there you have it. The debate over who truly deserves the title of the greatest of all time will likely rage on for years to come. Now we want to hear from you. Who do you think is the GOAT? Do you agree with the arguments we've made, or do you have your perspective? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more sports content. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.